Bai Qi is now officially in-game, and we've seen full testing, we've seen his entire kit, and you're able to unlock him right now. So today, I'm going to be doing a Bai Qi in-depth guide, going over his skills, his talents, his pairings, if he's even good on the open field, and if you should consider investing in him. So if you're an infantry player, or you just want to know if Bai Qi is a meta commander that you need, you also would want to stick around till the end of the video. Now, before we get into the guide today, quickly let me say if I do sound weird, it's because I've been a little bit sick. But other than that, let's just start off by going into Bai Qi's skills. And we'll start off with his active skill, where he deals smite damage to 5 enemy troops in a fan-shaped area, damage factor 2400. Every additional target reduces the damage to each target by 15%. Each target has a 30% chance to take 15% extra damage. So really, quite simple, just a 2400 damage, 5 target AoE, with a chance to make the target take a bit more extra AoE damage. It's not a debuff, because debuffs would have some type of timer on them. This is just, he could deal 15% more AoE on his active skill. So really, just simple, good 5 target damage, fan-shaped AoE. That is pretty nice to see. Bai Qi's second skill, he gets a total of infantry march speed 20%, infantry health 10%, and infantry attack 40%. Fairly strong in terms of stats right there. In terms of what we normally see, attacks on par, health is okay, march speed is about what you expect for infantry. So pretty good second skill on Bai Qi. Third skill, fourth skill, and the expertise is where we start to get a little bit more interesting. His third skill, if this commander's troop is attacking a troop on the map, so no rallying, no hiding in resource nodes and stuff, their troop is going to gain 10 stacks of the malice effect whenever they use an active skill. If the number of malice stacks is higher than the percentage of units remaining, he's going to spend 10 malice stacks to deal smite damage to the target, damage factor of 300. He's also going to gain a 10% bonus to severe wound units inflicted, and a 10% bonus to rage recovery speed for 1 second cooldown of 1 second. So really what this means is every single time Bai Qi enters combat and uses an active skill, and you're going to notice there's other ways he can get malice, but just to start off, whenever he uses an active skill, Bai Qi is going to get these malice effects, and if he has, let's say, 80 malice effects, and your opponent is at 70% health, then he's going to consume 10 of those malice stacks. And because he's got more malice than your opponent's HP, he is going to deal some damage. He's going to get a bonus to severely wounded units inflicted, which basically just means the opponent is going to take more sev wounds and less slightly wounded units, so it kind of changes the ratio there. And then he's also going to get a 20% rage recovery bonus. So it's a good buff, but you want to have more malice effects, and that's kind of where his third and his fourth and expertise skill comes in. Moving on to Bai Qi's fourth skill, this commander's troop deals a total of 10% more normal damage. Very good because he's a smite commander, it's just a nice damage bonus. And also, when attacking a field troop, again, no rallying, no resource nodes, none of that shenanigans, his troop is going to gain a total of 10 stacks of malice upon entering combat, and 10 stacks of malice for every 10% of units that he loses. He's also going to get a 1% or a 5% bonus to smite damage dealt up to 30% for every 10% of units that he is missing. So as Bai Qi gets weaker, he's going to gain more malice, he's going to deal more smite damage, and that's going to make him stronger. Also to note, the fact that he gets malice upon entering combat, and the fact that he gets malice whenever he loses 10% of units, it's going to let you get a lot of malice really quickly and deal a ton of damage to your opponents by giving him that sev wound. This sev wound bonus over here, you can see the severe wound inflict bonus. That's going to be really nice, and because of the way the malice stacking works, the fact that you're going to get 10 whenever you trigger an active skill could mean that you're going to be able to time this severe wounds inflicted bonus quite well with Bai Qi's active skill if you get a bit lucky, because what might happen is you trigger your active skill, you're going to get 10 stacks of malice because he's going to use an active skill, which will make them take more sevs, which will make your damage deal a lot more damage to them. So hopefully that is the interaction there. Obviously I don't have Bai Qi unlocked, so I can't look at a log myself to see, but from what I've seen, it's certainly possible the interaction happens if you get a little bit lucky. Now, it's obviously not a guarantee, but then again, just a 10% bonus to severe wounds inflicted in general is very good, especially right after an active skill. Either your secondary or your commander itself is going to be hitting quite hard, because when we get into it, Bai Qi is more of a secondary commander, but the commander that you're running is going to be hitting quite hard, because Bai Qi is obviously just running his active skill. The primary commanders just use their active skill. You've triggered all these bonuses, and then you've also got that 10% bonus to severe wounds inflicted. So it's really, really nice if it lines up well with the active skill. And up to 30% bonus smite damage once you lose, I think it's a total of 60% units, is pretty good. So it's going to help you kind of sustain the march as it gets weaker, because generally, as you run out of troops, you deal a lot less damage. But in this situation, Bai Qi is going to be able to sustain his damage because he gets even more smite damage. Moving on to the expertise, if this commander is a field troop, after severely wounding 400,000 enemy units, he's going to gain a 5% bonus on normal damage dealt. Now, this is really negligible. Generally, you're not going to sev wound 400,000 enemy units unless you get lucky or you're driving your march into the ground and you're a whale. So this probably won't apply for most people, but that being said, if you get lucky and you do sev win 400,000 enemy units, you get a 5% bonus to normal damage dealt, which is cool, and that is just a small little thing. But the main thing we care about is the second part of the expertise. When reduced to 50% units remaining, Bai Qi is going to deal a total of 60% more all damage and take 30% less all damage for the next 6 seconds. That's a ridiculously good buff for a very long time. His active skill, if you get that to line up, is going to hit like a truck, and he's going to be taking a lot less damage. And then when he's reduced to 15% units, he becomes even stronger. He's going to deal 100% more all damage and take 50% less all damage for the next 6 seconds. Ridiculously good effects right there. Only thing to note, they can only trigger once per hour, but the second you go back to your city, it will trigger again, very similar to Constantine. So really, really good skill right there. The fact that you're able to deal such an absurd amount of all damage and take such a low amount of damage is really powerful, and it kind of shows where Bai Qi can be very nice. So now that we've done a skill overview for Bai Qi, what skills do I think are the most important for him? Quite simply, he's kind of an expertise commander. I would recommend expertising him. His expertise is really good, and all 4 of his skills are really nice as well. If you really, really didn't want to, like, let's say, focus on getting a skill, I think the best one to skip is either the 4th skill or the 3rd skill, depending. Really, though, they're all kind of equal in value. 1st skill and 2nd skill you must have. 3rd skill you could skip if you don't care too much about his debuff and his rage bonus, and you just want to have the normal damage bonus, but then you lose out on the sev wounds inflicted, which is probably a good chunk of his kit, and his expertise is absurdly good. So really, I would say that you would want to expertise Bai Qi. He's not expertise or nothing. You can run him early, 5551, but I would certainly work towards the expertise as one of your first priorities for your infantry march, because his expertise is probably the strongest thing in his kit, just purely because of the insane amount of stats you're going to get whenever you lose that number of units, which is certainly possible to go below 50% units. The fact you get 60% all damage is insane, and taking 30% less is ridiculous. So expertise, I highly recommend with Bai Qi, but up to 3-4 skills, just like leveling him up, you can probably use him because of his absurd AoE just on his active skill. It's going to make him open field usable, but I would definitely strive towards that expertise to make him really meta. In terms of his best pairings, really when we look at it, there's 2 main pairings you would even consider with him. The first one is a Liu Che primary and a Bai Qi secondary. Perfect march to run on the open field, reason being it's both of the best infantry AoE commanders. They're both smite commanders. Liu Che is a kind of, not a tanky commander, but a bit more tanky than Bai Qi, because Bai Qi is really glass cannon, and it's also quite interesting to note that they both got a lot of bonuses to smite damage and normal damage. This is going to make their 5-target AoEs, both of their 5-target AoEs, just be ridiculously good, and you've got a double 5-target AoE march. That is insanely powerful with a good amount of march speed. 20% on Bai Qi and also a further 20% on Liu Che. So really, really good march to be running in my opinion, and it's going to be quite a meta choice. The other option, if you're running 2 to 3 infantry marches, is a William Wallace with a Bai Qi secondary. Again, very similar situation, double smite commanders. William Wallace, very stat heavy, very tanky commander, with also quite a good amount of damage to his kit as well. Nice smite damage bonuses and normal damage bonuses, so that is good. Pair that with Bai Qi, you're going to be in a good position. Now, Liu Che is obviously the best pairing with him if you can only run 1 infantry march or 2, because your second march, you probably want to run a Ragnar Prime with a CPO. Legal Chair with Bai Qi is your best Smite March pairing currently in the game. But if you want to split them, you can do a William Wallace with a Bai Qi and then run like a Leo Chair with an Alex, for example. So that's certainly possible. And you've got, for example, a very good 3-March ball. You can do Ragnar Prime CPO, you can do William Wallace with Bai Qi, and then Leo Chair with Alexander the Great. So you'll have that 3-March ball, and it is a really, really good pairing. Best pairing, though, is certainly a Leo Chair primary with a Bai Qi secondary. Now, in terms of Bai Qi's talents, I'm going to have to show you in a bit of a weird way, because I don't actually have access to the Smite tree. Reason being, I don't have any infantry or Smite commanders, so I'm going to have to show you this through a different commander and kind of show you through a different infantry commander. So I'm going to show you through Sun Tzu. The reason being, Sun Tzu is like one of my only like level 60 infantry commanders, and he has the full infantry tree. And the real thing you want to note is, pretend Sun Tzu is an infantry versatility Smite commander. First thing you're going to do, you're going to max the Smite tree. Reason being, Smite tree is really good. It's going to be better than the infantry tree for most situations, and it's going to carry you on the open field. After that, you're going to go into the infantry. You're going to max Hold the Line. It's a very, very good talent, and the other talents leading up to it are strong. Things like Double-Headed Axe, making you deal more normal damage, which also means you're going to deal a little bit more Smite damage too. Then you're just going to go and you're going to put some more March Speed into infantry. Infantry are never fast enough. 3 points into Undying Fury, and the last 3 you're just going to put into Stronger Body to get a little bit of extra health. This is the exact tree you want to do for Bai Qi. Just pretend this is the Smite tree. Max the Smite tree, just click the last talent and max it, and then you're going to just get these exact infantry talents here, and it's going to be the exact same number of points. So don't worry, you should be on point, same number of points, since each tree takes the same number of points when you do max them. So this is the exact build you want to go for with Bai Qi. It's going to be really powerful if you run him as a primary. Now, out of all the pairings I've showed you, he is a secondary in every single one of them, but if you want to run him as a primary, that was the tree that I would highly recommend. Now, this brings me on to the question of the day. Is Bai Qi a good commander? Simple answer is yes. He's a really, really powerful commander. He's 5-target AoE. He is pretty good in terms of his stats. He gets really, really powerful when he gets weaker, which is sustainable on the open field. And this makes him a very powerful commander. He's probably a good investment since he is Smite, and he's got AoE. The only thing he's lacking is a debuff, and even then, you could just run him with other commanders in your mutable who have debuffs like CPO, or even commanders like Leo Chair. While the debuffs are not amazing, he does have debuffs that can help you, like March Speed reduction. So Bai Qi doesn't really have a debuff. That's the only thing lacking in his kit. The rest is pretty good. Bit squishy, but you can make up for that with your commander pairings. And when you put him with Leo Chair, it's an absolute beast. We've seen in-game reports. It's ridiculously good. And I highly recommend choosing him as a form of investment. If you want to run an infantry march, let's say you're currently running a Leo Chair with an Alex, I would honestly upgrade, because Bai Qi is just going to be such a beast to the point that he'd be a worthy upgrade. The 690 gold heads that's going to cost you is worth it, in my opinion. If you're doing a commander swap and you can only choose to expertise one of the 2 commanders, I would probably go with a Bai Qi initially, because his expertise is a little bit more important than Leo Chair's. Leo Chair's kit, most of it is in his active skill and his second skill, and also possibly the 3rd or 4th skill. But really, his expertise, while it's good, the extra combo attack and stuff, it's not 100% necessary, even though I'd recommend getting it for the extra rage. You can get away with not running it initially, and Bai Qi's expertise is going to help him more on the open field than Leo Chair's expertise will. On top of this, he's really good for a 2-March infantry mutable, he's really good for a 3-March infantry mutable, and he's just a really good commander overall. He's completely meta, he destroys every single march in the game from what I've seen, except maybe some Arthur marches with the right setup can beat him. Generally though, Bai Qi's going to win. He's demolishing every archer march. He demolishes all the previous meta infantry marches. So Bai Qi, most likely a good meta commander in my opinion, that for most players you should actually consider investing in. Very similar to like the release of Arthur Pendragon. He seems to be that next step up in power that most players have been waiting to see. Bai Qi is definitely there to fulfill that. So Bai Qi, good investment in my opinion for free-to-play spenders, whatever it may be. And he's currently available in the Wheel of Fortune. So if you want to get him, I'd highly recommend doing it now so that you can get access to him early and use him on the open field. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, I want to ask you guys for a small favor. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. I have more videos coming out very soon about the new infantry commanders. There'll be some stuff about Bai Qi. There'll be some stuff about the new rally commander. There'll be some updated tier lists as well. So if you're interested in the commander meta, which is the main thing that I like to do on the channel, please do consider subscribing. Completely free. If you don't enjoy my videos, you can always unsubscribe. Other than that, I just want to say thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.